Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the weekly armchair. I hope you're all very good. It's been nice not to really talk about United for a couple of weeks. Fortunately for you guys, I've lost my voice as well, hence why I sound a bit nasally. And is obviously music to Dara's ears. Jonathan, Dick, Dara, really appreciate you all being here. Obviously, slightly different turn of events we're going to be talking about today. But obviously, we'll talk about the big news that came out yesterday. So Eric Ten Hag, which I'm sure you're all aware of, is staying for at least another year, and they're going to probably sort out another contract for him. Now, as the boys will already know, I'm absolutely over the moon about this, and I will go through my points. I want to get everyone's thoughts. I know, Jonathan, you were kind of on the fence a few weeks ago, but I know that you were kind of relieved a little bit yesterday, as you said in the chat, so I want to get your thoughts on that too. And then, of course, we'll go into to the Euros and see what everyone's thoughts and feelings for that are. Something to look forward to, obviously, from Friday onwards, to watch multiple games a day, which we always love in the summer, don't we? So, yeah, Dara, over to you first then, buddy. I hope you're very well, my good man. And, yeah, Eric Ten Hag, talk to me.
I'm very much on your side of the fence, Mark. I was absolutely delighted because at this point, I was sick to death of every Tom, Dick, and Harry, as they say here, just writing something that involves the words Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United, because at this point nobody knew anything. And then, of course, we all got that glorious notification last night that David Ornstein had reported that Ten Hag was staying, and I just let out a big yes, simply because I was there like, finally we actually have some clarity. Because even though I said as the FA Cup final preview, as I said, if it was a case he was going, I would have been there like, look, it's some clarity on it.
Yeah,
I wanted clarity. That's all I wanted as a Manchester United fan, and finally we have it. And I even turned around and I said last night, in my opinion, this whole thing of someone as big as David Ornstein breaking the news, it really
it's what we needed.
It's what we needed, but as I said as well, it kind of gave a big two fingers to the rest of the British media, because I remember saying this to Mark in the group chat, and you've definitely agreed with me when I said it. If it doesn't come from David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, Andy Mitten, a very select few, you're going to be
even Romano these days. Actually, he's just
and that's why I didn't mention him. Like,
he just regurgitates a lot of things. There are things that he does too, but he's more of like a. He just kind of Ornstein. You're right. I think Ornstein for me is number one. Obviously, when it comes to Manchester United, Mitten you listen to, and of course Laurie Whitwell as well. Yeah. There are one or two more as well, but it's always difficult to know these days. But sorry, carry on.
But no, it was just to add on to the point that basically because all three of those particular names I mentioned kept silent on the news, because even Laurie Whitwell said in the podcast of Talking to the Devils after the FA Cup final win, he actually turned around and he said, look, we heard the story about, regardless what happens, Ten Hag was going. We wanted to fact check that before anything was set in stone. And sure enough, the first thing you hear out of The Athletic was the fact that there was this end of season review. So the fact that someone as respectable as Laurie Whitwell or David Ornstein didn't say anything the whole time, it speaks volumes that the rest of the British media just wanted to get their ink on paper. And it really starts the question of who you actually believe anymore. That's why I only name a select few there. And like I said, in my opinion, it was just a big two fingers to the rest of the British media to say, until you actually have your facts checked, don't post anything.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a good point, really. I mean, we always get sort of sucked into it, don't we? And obviously, you lads, I don't know what the publicity and journalism is like in Ireland, but certainly in England. And I talked to a few people about this. Guy that I know from Belgium talks about the fact that they have to actually come out with facts. They cannot just bring out bullshit. And there's a lot of bullshit that obviously goes around, and it frustrates me. And the thing is, right, we could do this every summer, particularly with United. Chelsea are up there as well. They just chat a load of bollocks, and you can't help but get swept up, and you get angry. You know, you get caught in the emotions. It's very difficult not to. Anyway, great points there, buddy, and I'm pleased that you're pleased. So that's good.
Exactly.
Over to you.
Yeah, well, I've been saying for the last while on a couple of podcasts that I've been Ten Hag in I wanted him to be given a chance with a proper football and structure above him. So, I mean, I'm not judging him on last season. I'm not judging him on the season before. I'm going to judge him on this season. He's got men above him now that have some football knowledge, unlike the Glazers that were more interested in merchandise. So let's see what he can do with a proper pre-season, a full season, hopefully with a full squad that aren't decimated by injuries. I've been saying for ages that I wanted him there. I hated some of the names we were linked with. I just couldn't believe it. I didn't want to see them at the club. I thought Eric was a better fit for us. I still stand by that. I think he can. I think he definitely can come good. The one problem he is going to have is he needs to start the season flying. The media are going to jump on his back if he loses the first game. And unfortunately, we've seen player pressure and media pressure get rid of managers from Manchester United.
Yeah.
United are the biggest
all over the country.
Yeah, United are the biggest news story in world football. We've seen it with the last 2 weeks. It's been crazy. Everything has been reported on. Now that we have Ten Hag in, we're linked to every player in every league in every country. So it's going to be a long summer, but that's why we follow the club.
Yeah, it will be a long summer. But what we do know as well, and I just want to add a couple more bits before I come to you, Jonathan, is obviously we needed an answer, whether that's going to be yes or no, and we've got that. And I would say that, considering it was only a few weeks ago, the FA Cup, we've got it pretty quick, I would say. These things aren't done overnight. So I think that they've done quite well with that. We know as well that obviously due to financial fair play, United can't make any signings until July because the new 3-year window for financial fair play starts in July. But they do seem to be doing a few things in the background. And what I have noticed as well, which is quite good, is that you see the kind of usual names, but I don't believe that we're getting linked to everybody and their dog this time. I don't see that from outlets. I think that there is a little bit more of a subtle part on United, and maybe that's just me hoping more than anything, but I do feel like it's a little bit less, and I do feel that we have our targets. I do feel that hopefully Ashworth is doing his bit. We read today about Jason Wilcox doing his bit with regards to the kind of 11 on in against Man City, which I don't believe that Ten Hag wouldn't have known that, but I think if he's helping, great. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're doing little bits, little baby steps, and hopefully that's going to continue, and we'll see what happens over the summer. But come July the 1st, I'm expecting us to do something quick and hopefully get 2 or 3 players in and get a few players out, and we need to start seeing that now. We can't be doing the last minute shit every summer that we've seen and been too apparent with over the years. Jonathan, anyway, buddy, thank you so much for waiting. Sorry about that. Great answers, guys, and I'm pleased that you're both pleased. So, Jonathan, don't ruin the 100%, please, brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I was on the show with Callum a couple of weeks ago. I was on with Dara as well, and we were both in agreement, myself and Callum, that you could see legitimate arguments both ways to keep him and to sack him. And I think particularly the end of season results was really leaning towards the latter where he was going to be sacked. That's what it looked like. And I know there was a lot of reports going around that he was going to get sacked after the FA Cup final, which has turned out to be complete bollocks now. Surprise, surprise. I'm glad it's sorted, that we can move on to summer. I'm like you guys, I'm in agreement with you guys that I was just sick of reading these reports every single day about a different manager been interviewed and just been underwhelmed by each and every one of them. One thing I will say about Ten Hag staying on is he's got to adapt and he's got to change. The Ten Hag of the last 2 years can't continue at Manchester United. It's not going to work under Ineos, and it's not going to work in terms of style of play. I'm patient with a manager if I can see something to get behind. My biggest problem this year in particular with Ten Hag was that there was very little to get behind in terms of long-term strategy. I can take defeats, I could take 8th-place finishes, I can take the worst finish in Premier League history for us, but I can't take a team that has no direction, nothing to get behind. And that was my biggest concern, especially at the end of the season. I thought the decision would have been made after the Palace defeat, to be honest. And my concern is with this decision is that Ineos just don't think there's any better candidates out there sort of stuck. And you're looking at a manager in charge of one of the biggest football clubs in the world now, whose job has effectively been saved by a VAR decision against Coventry for a half-yard offside decision. That's how close I think this has been to Ten Hag losing his job, because that goal goes in. If that goal stands, there's no doubt he loses his job. There's no argument about it. He loses his job. You don't throw away a 3-goal lead against Coventry in the final 20 minutes, lose 4-3 and keep your job at Manchester United. You don't. So that's how fine this is. Now look, we could look back at this, and I hope we do in 5 to 10 years' time and say, wow, how close have we come to see Ten Hag getting sacked, and look at what he's done since. I hope I'm wrong in that regard. I hope that's what happens out of this year. But look, I'm happy. I get behind him. I think when he came in as manager 2 years ago, I 100% wanted it to work for him. He's the manager I wanted, and I really do hope it works for him. And I'm 100% behind him as a Man United fan now. I just hope that he adapts a little bit, because I think sometimes his man management skills leave a lot to be questioned, because I think he's a little bit too black and white at times. I think that's what makes the great managers great, is being able to work with different players and so many different personalities. I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson was one of the best around at it. You look at the way he handled the likes of Eric Cantona compared to the rest of that changing room in the mid-90s. So he's got to adapt to that regard. And look, it looks like they have come to some sort of agreement with Ineos there in terms of the transfer decisions as well. So look, hopefully this is the end of a saga now, and we move forward positively into the summer.
Yeah. Absolutely, and another few points well made there, buddy. My 2 pence on it, not that you give a shit, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. No, I'm over the moon. Listen, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Deck, I was saying it to you the other week. Dara, I think I said this before. Jonathan, you've heard me harp on about it in group chats and all sorts. I'm over the moon about it. I really feel that, at the time, Ten Hag was really... getting a huge amount from the Ajax squad. You saw how much they capitulated after he left. That's my first point. Man City were after him. They wanted him to replace Pep. That's my second point. Barcelona were also interested in him 2 years ago, wanted to wait another year. That's another point. And also, I feel like I've said this as well so many times, but he overachieved massively last season. Now, what that does is it sets a precedence for everyone this season. Right. We got a trophy. We need to look for another one. We need to get top 4. But the thing is, as all projects working in software, in football, rugby, wherever you look, sometimes when you're in a transition period, and unfortunately we've been in it in 10 years, and we've still got 5 managers worth of players in that squad, there or thereabouts, okay? You always see a good first bit because everyone's excited, everyone gets behind it, everyone likes the new regime, and you always see a massive dip. So it's not questionable. I'm pissed off as much as you guys are that it's our worst finish. But it's the way that it goes. But you need to have that stability. And the thing is as well, and I've said before, shit trickles downhill. We can't on one hand say, oh, we need all these people to make the right decisions, to come in, to have that proper structure, fucking Glazers, get out, blah, 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 and then expect him to run well with that. I'm pleased, obviously, part of the agreement as well is the fact that he's just going to be a coach. I agree, and I've said this a couple of years ago. Shane on the channel as well said it. Some of you guys as well. He shouldn't have been doing the player profiling, and that's come to bite him in the ass. And that's just not. You look at any other well-run club, City, not Chelsea really, Liverpool, Real Madrid. They've got someone to play a profile. The manager will say, right, this is the kind of player I want, or the technical director will look at that profile and say, right, these are the players that you can have. Which one do you want? Do you know what I mean? There'll all be a conversation. So you can't expect it to put 100. It's just not how football works these days. And I feel like because he overachieved, he's got another fucking trophy. You're then going to start again, reinventing the wheel and all that bollocks. It just doesn't work. So I'm over the moon. He needs another year. And I agree, if he cannot change his approach and change his style and all this, and after a good summer window, he still needs a good summer window. If he has a shit summer window, then I still can't fully blame him next season, because we're still with the shit, and we need to clear the shit out. We need to get the right players in, and then he needs to have a fresh, clean slate. So we'll see how it goes.
And actually, I was going to make a point there, Mark, because run after the fact you made a point of him overachieving, and you've made great points about why you want to keep him, because of course let's say City wants to replace him or Pep with him. Barca wants him. You could clearly tell he's a great coach. So in that respect, and I'm not comparing the two of them when I say this, you look at the fact that Jose Mourinho has made his comments about finishing second with that United squad one of his greatest achievements. does that kind of put the point of...
Does that not say everything you need to know?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
believe that. I do believe that. That is 100% right. And I know Mourinho chats bollocks sometimes, and he's all a bit like drama and all this. But I think a lot of what he's done during his time, wherever he's been, he talks a lot of sense. He does it in a weird way for a bit of sort of like, a bit of reaction. But he says it. He says what he's saying right, and that tells you everything you need to know.
And it also says a lot when he has won trophies at Man United, and the one, if I'm correct in saying, the only team that he's managed that he hasn't won anything was Spurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that says anything.
Yeah, true. Anyway,
Yeah, Spurs are shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll text Steve. I'll clip this up at the end. I'll text Steve after this and tell him you said that, Deck. Right, let's move on then. We've had our rant. Anyway, I'm pleased. Sounds like Jonathan's pleased. Sounds like Deck's pleased. Sounds like Julio's pleased in the comments as well. Get your comments in.
Yes.
Get liking. Get subscribing. I know it's a Wednesday evening. I know there's other things on, but get involved and talk to us. Right, let's move on to subject A, Euros. Now, I know that all of you are massive England fans with me today, so I'm really pleased about that. And no, honestly, you tell me exactly. Dara and Deck, they've already told me exactly what they think about me in my country behind the scenes. So let's have a little look at the groups first. And what we'll do is we'll go through each group. We'll think about what the top two teams might be. You can give your ideas on the winner as well. And also, I do want to talk about England, and I hope you don't mind about that. Obviously, I'm a little bit more excited. I appreciate you don't, but I want you to give your honest opinions to me, guys. So please do that. And I'll try not to talk so much because I'm losing my voice a little bit more. Let me do this. It's been a little while. Sorry about this. So, bollocks.
Oi, Julio.
Mm.
Less of that.
Oi.
Can I just acknowledge that the world's best fans won't be at this tournament? Alcohol sales will be down by 50%.
Yes.
And there will be no fucking crack with fans at this tournament.
I do agree. It's funny you say that, actually. I was on holiday this weekend for a load of birthdays, and I was with my uncle. He's Irish, massive Ireland supporter, of course, massive United fan as well. And we were talking about fans, and we were talking about how England are terrible and boisterous, cause loads of shit. But one thing he did say was about the Irish and how wonderful they are. They just want to go and have fun, and I absolutely believe that too. So a little fun fact for you there.
And before we go any further on that point, great comparison and contrast. If you look at any videos of Irish fans from Euro 2016 when it was on in France, and compare that to just the single day of the Euro 20 final against Italy. If you want, if any of you have seen that documentary come up on Netflix, or it's like the final attack on Wembley in relation to the day in itself.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I knew it was bad, but I watched it the other day, and oh my god, my eyes were open just to actually how bad it was.
Honestly, it's massive mob mentality here, and it does my fucking head in, to be honest. But anyway, I'm not part of that. Don't agree with it, and that's don't condone that at all. Right. Anyway, let's look at the groups. So, Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. Obviously, in Germany, probably got a bit of a better chance, I would say, being on their home turf. But Dara, I'll come to you first then. The two you think will go through, and any other kind of comments on any of the other teams?
I try and follow international football and international footballers as a whole in general as much as I can. But I look at the Group A, and I can't honestly put it past anyone but Germany, and I'm going to say Switzerland, but I'm not going to be overly shocked if Scotland go away and do it either.
Really?
I don't know enough about the Hungary national team or watch enough of them. Fair enough, we beat.
See, I think the Swiss are relatively strong. I think Hungary are pretty poor, actually. I think Scotland. Well, I'll give you my opinion, mate. Sorry, carry on, buddy.
No, for me, I look at that squad and I just think it's probably either Germany, Switzerland, or Germany, Scotland. Germany should walk this group. And I'm not even trying to exaggerate when I say that, because on paper, their squad should be reaching semi-final minimum. My personal opinion, anyway. So, I mean, I look at that group and I think it's one of two options, but Germany's in both options, and it's either between Scotland and Switzerland, in my opinion. And lads might disagree with me on that one because they might have a different point of view, but
No,
who knows?
that's good. So, Box in the comments here. Thanks for joining, buddy. Really appreciate it. Germany, Hungary, Switzerland, Scotland. Fair. That's a fair call. I think. Well, I'll give you mine at the end. Okay, so Dara, yours was Germany, Scotland.
I'll be fair. I'll stick to one. And I'll say Germany, Scotland, but that's just on a hunch now.
Okay, so already we got a difference in opinions here. Julia saying you guys low key sleeping on Hungary. Wouldn't surprise me if it's Germany, Hungary, Scotland, Switzerland. So Germany, Hungary, Scotland. So we've got lots in this one. Very difficult group by the looks of it. Okay, Deck, over to you, buddy.
Did Ireland not beat Hungary there lately?
I was just going to say,
last week.
4-0. 4-0, wasn't it?
Like, I mean, if I'm picking two from that, like I'm doing a draw in a local pub, so I've already picked my two teams. So I actually went Germany, Switzerland. I think the Swiss are very underrated with a very decent squad, and they turn up. So I actually went for Germany, Switzerland. They were my two picks from that group.
Okay, Jonathan, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, on paper, the obvious one is Germany and Switzerland to get out of the group, but the Germans have just been famous bottlers in the last couple of major tournaments, and like I could definitely see a world in which Switzerland and Hungary get out of that group, and the hosts go out as a shock. I really could. Now I hope they don't. I'd like to see them have a run in this tournament because I think it adds to the tournament when a host stays in it longer. But it's a complicated one to predict. The only thing I could predict there, I think Scotland are going to finish bottom. I just can't see them getting out of that group. I think Ireland bet the Hungarians last week, but you can see they've got a bit about them. They've got a few decent footballers. The Swiss, no matter how much you discount them, they always come up with the goods in major tournaments. So, for me, I think the obvious one is Germany and Switzerland to get out of that group, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Hungary and Switzerland go out of that group. It's just that sort of group.
Yeah, it is really. There's sort of not outstanding teams, but any one of them can kind of just pip it. See, to me, well, I was looking at something the other day, and I feel like Germany will get top, but I think they'll probably get get knocked out in the kind of the next round, the round or the round after. But I think it will be Germany, Switzerland, Scotland. But there are third places this time round, aren't there? Get through. I don't know how many there are. How many are there? Do you know?
Julio says in the comments there are 4 of the best third place teams also.
So I think Scotland could be one of these, and we'll kind of talk about that as we go through as well, which is going to be very difficult. We just need to remember 4. Okay, so thanks, Julio, for that, buddy. Scotland have had a few pull out with injuries. McTominay, is he in?
I was going to say any word on McTominay because I didn't hear anything.
I haven't looked either. But obviously, he's a bit of a big man for them, isn't he? Right, okay, so a bit up in the air with that one. I think Germany and Switzerland probably pip it for the most of us, for the majority, I'd say. But yeah, I think personally Scotland might get a third place there, but we'll have to wait and see. Right, let's move on to B then. Obviously, a major, poor Albania, eh? Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania. Over to you, Darren.
I won't lie. I actually just went scrolling through the Croatian team because I actually forgot half their team, if I'm honest. So I'm looking at it's one of those groups where it's going to be the hardest to predict, in my personal opinion. Italy didn't even qualify for the World Cup last time out, so it just says that. Well, I've heard a lot of people say because of the fact they couldn't qualify for the World Cup that their Euros win was a fluke. Would you go as far to say that? They were undefeated all 13 or 14 games undefeated if you include their Euros win. So I mean they were on good form. I couldn't tell you if they had a good group or not, though, saying that. I'm going to say I'm going to stick with my gut and I'm going to say Spain and Italy, but I do think Croatia, if it's a tight enough group, Croatia will probably get one of those third place spots, I'd say. Okay. Let's be honest, I no disrespect to Albania. It's just when you look at the caliber of the teams you're going to be up against, it's any toss up of the first three, really. In what order, who knows?
Yeah. Deck, over to you, buddy. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually, like, as I said, I've mine picked already, and I actually went Spain, Croatia. I think Croatia just in tournaments are a great team, and they can beat anyone on their day. Spain, obviously, I went for them for number one, but I think Croatia are going to come second with Italy in third. Whether they get one of the top three, then I don't know. But I actually went for Spain or Croatia. I think Croatia could have a decent tournament like they usually do.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There, Croatia, they're a real tournament team. You kind of look at them every time you look at them and think they're over the hill in terms of the squad they have there with Modric, etc. They just go up with the goods again. I can see it being Spain and Italy top two, and then Croatia definitely getting through as one of the best placed third place teams at the very least. But then again, they could blow the group out of the water and finish top with a 100% record. But the only team you can't give any hope in that group is Albania. Sorry, Julio.
No, like I'd say this much though. The only thing going against Spain, and I read this because I didn't realize it, was that their squad is actually quite young and somewhat inexperienced. So the lack of experience in tournament football with the international team might go against them. Having said that,
Yeah, Box agrees with me.
I think Mark. I think
you're on mute,
you're.
Mark.
Oh, I'm on mute. Thanks. Croatia, Spain. So this is what I've gone as well. No, I haven't actually. I've gone Croatia top, Spain second, Italy. I think gets another third place, and Albania. Yeah, I think they're not going to get anything at all. Poor in qualifying, but always turn up to tournaments. Agreed with a lot of what you said there, guys. Italy's last kick of the ball in the World Cup knockout football was when Grosso scored.
That's crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
That's mad, isn't it?
Jesus, 18 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Jonathan, you're not sorry, apparently.
100%.
There you go. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, again, for me, I think Croatia are the favourites here. I really do. I think there's a lot of probably pressure on Spain. I don't think they're as good as previous, and they haven't been for a little while now. Obviously got some very good players in there, but again, not really a cohesive team. And I think Italy get the third place there. I really do. I don't think they're good at all. Big up to you, brother. Glad to see you involved. Get liking, get subscribing. Who's this? Scotland. It's probably Keno. Scotland, Germany, and Italy to lose just so Reese can't be happy. Yeah, Reese on this channel literally has a finger in so many countries that if he loses one team, he's still got another 3 in it. So what a lucky man. We do have a little chuckle about this, and he also supports 69 different club teams as well. That's always a running joke. Anyway, let's move on. Group C: Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England.
Wouldn't it be funny to see the group stay in exactly that position?
That's exactly what I was
Do you
thinking.
know what? It'd be so funny for you. Not for me, but go on.
No. I'm calling it here. England on paper have probably one of the best squads in world football.
Yeah.
100%.
At the moment. They seem to shit the bed every time they go to a tournament.
They do.
But my take on it is the media put so much pressure on an England team in a tournament, it has to affect the players. If they win their first game, the media then have them ready to win fucking Cheltenham, the World Cup, fucking Tour de France, everything. The media need to get off their back and leave that team play. On paper, I mean, they have the best player in Spain this season. They probably have the best player in England this season. Harry Kane in Germany, best player. Like, I mean, don't put too much pressure on your team. As an Irishman, I've pissed myself laughing at it for years, you know. But I do recognise that the English media, they're detrimental to the team. On paper,
we were talking about this earlier. Media causing shit, stirring up a lot of stuff. They do. Honestly, it's terrible. I mean, us as fans, we do live in the past, a bit like Liverpool, a bit like United now. You know, we do think about the sort of, you know, a few things that we've won in the past. And I think you have to hold on to that thing. I can't blame any fan that does that. But the media are terrible. They really, really are. And they put so much pressure in. Of course, the fans, again, we get all excited and we want to get involved. And we're like, oh, fucking hell, this could be our year. And I do believe this is probably the best squad we've had, even
Yeah.
prior to the last three that we've done really fucking well in. I think our run and our the way it could go is harder than Portugal's, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I really do think we've got a good one here. So anyway, Dara, what did you go with the 4?
Oh no, I didn't even say anything yet. So
Okay, sorry.
Looks like I was going to pull off next point there, but the fact that he made the point about how good the squad actually is on paper, and I've said this on numerous shows before, because when we kind of broke into talking about the England squad, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. And Mark, you probably know what I'm going to say anyway. If Gareth Southgate wasn't manager of the England squad, he would have won either the World Cup or the fucking Euros at that point, because was it? He's in since Euro 2016, am I correct in saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gone through 3 international tournaments, done very well with the squad he's had. That's because the squad's, quite frankly, it's been shit hot. Let's not beat around the bush there. It's been a shit hot squad, and you can see even in the next 3 major tournaments, not including this one, the squad's only going to get better with more experience. So, like, assuming Southgate has gone at the end of the Euros, if you get an actual decent manager in and he still can win a tournament, there is something fundamentally wrong. Because people talk about the golden generation that England had back in 2006 or between 2002 to we'll say 2010.
Yep.
If you don't win anything with this squad, which in my opinion is on paper
a better squad.
A better
I think it's a better squad than 2006.
Yeah,
I do.
On paper, you should be winning all around you with this squad. Like, if you threw this England squad in the Premier League, unstoppable. My opinion, it genuinely is unstoppable. But with the right manager, with the wrong manager, it falls into the wrong hands. So with that, I will say this much: I found that England going in or building into the World Cup and Euros of the last few tournaments, like, fair enough, you lost 1-0 to Iceland. We'll take the piss out of that, but let's be honest, you lost in 2016 to Iceland. I have a vague memory of that game.
Roy Hodgson actually in 2016.
So it was after after Euros he came in. Okay,
it was.
So it was the fact that you lost to Iceland then. Fair enough, it was Roy Hodgson's management then, but it shows anything can happen. And the fact you lost them in a friendly, again, anything can happen there. The point I'm going to make there is that when you kick on in tournaments, I don't care how good of a group you've gotten in time gone by, you've kicked on, you've actually done well. So what was that? Stop mentioning the thing to my aunt. Oh,
it's like his nan owning a Lamborghini.
Literally.
It's very good. I like that.
It's a very good analogy. It is very true.
It is.
Well,
and we knew exactly what you meant. You know what? You know those things we see on Twitter. Okay, explain it in footballing terms. This is another way of saying it. Very good. Yeah, go on.
But no, it's just the point of when you look at that squad and you think something has to give. Even in the World Cup, fair enough, you had a good group to work with in the World Cup, but you just hammered the teams around you. You played good football, and that's not my personal opinion. That's not down to the Southgate. That's just the fact of the quality of the squad. So, with the squad being young but still getting good results, you should be topping this group. But I'm going to say Denmark are going to top the group, but England will come second. I don't know enough about Slovenia and Serbia to comment on who would battle the other for the third spot if third spot becomes available. But just looking at the way Denmark have played in previous times, it should be England and Denmark in top 2, but I will give Denmark the top spot there.
Okay. Jonathan, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, it's a group that has a very similar feel to it, to the one that England drew in the 2010 World Cup. And I remember, I think it was the back of the Daily Mail had the group easy on it because it was such an easy group on paper. And I think on paper it's probably one of the easier groups in the tournament for sure, but it has banana skin written all over it. I mean, on paper, you look at those teams and there's nothing really to fear. But then when you break the teams down, Slovenia are a tricky team. They've got Šeško up front, who's one of the most sought-after strikers in Europe at the minute. Denmark are a technically very good team. You have Rasmus Højlund there, who's starting to hit form again. I think he could definitely be one to watch in this tournament. Christian Eriksen still in there as well. And Serbia as well, they're a tough, resilient team, and it could cause England a lot of problems in terms of breaking them down and stuff like that. So on paper, if England have learned their lessons from the past, they should definitely be 100% finishing top of that group. They'll definitely get out of the group, whether that be in the top two or shockingly as a third place team. But there's no doubt they'll get out of the group. But I think it'll depend. I think they'll be aiming for top spot, because if I'm right, they'll be on the easier side of the draw if they finish top, as I think. So yeah, look, they should be finishing top, and I think it'll be Denmark with them. And I don't think the best third place team will come out of this group for some reason. I don't know why.
I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I was watching a really good podcast the other day about he did 10,000 simulations. Okay. And anyway, lots and lots of things went on. Lots of to talk about which ones were the most likely to get third, that kind of thing. The top 4 spots for third, and England in this group on current form with the current place. It was very, very intricate. A lot of formulas behind it. Very, very good to watch actually. England got the most points, 9 points, the most times out of anybody in any of the groups, and they should finish top with 9 points.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head there, Jonathan. I think Serbia are difficult to break down. I think Slovenia, I don't really know too much about them, but again, quite a resilient team again. And I think Denmark is certainly one to watch as well. But I think with that in mind, Slovenia and Serbia also don't score many goals. So that's why they won't get the top spot for the third place. But as I said, the stats were something like Portugal had the most likely to win based on form, the players they've got, with 13.86%, I think it was. England second with 11.89%, and then France were way behind with 9%. So I think there's a clear favourite of who's going to win out of Portugal and England. Of course, it can all change. We don't know what's going to happen on the day. But this was a really, really clever simulation. I'll try and send it in later on, perhaps. My missus is calling me for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, so yes, I think England, Denmark, Serbia, Slovenia is what I'm going with, and nobody in the top 3 there. Right, let's go to this one. We're going to move on a little bit quicker, and I'm going to go on pause to answer the missus' phone call. Poland, Netherlands, Austria, France. Over to you, Darren.
Group of death, in my opinion. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to make it easier for myself and just say Netherlands and France to finish in the top 2. And the way Johnson was saying this, he didn't think when the third place finishes were going to come out of Group C. It will definitely come out of Group D, though. I'm going to say, why do I have a sneaking suspicion it'll be Austria who will get third and Poland will actually finish last? I don't know why, but you could make a chop and change of France and Netherlands for the top 2, but I have that sneaking suspicion Austria will get that group will be so tight it will get when the third place finishes, and I just have that sneaking feeling it'll be Austria that'll take it. Because fair enough, I know Frankie de Jong and a few others have pulled out the Netherlands squad, but I look at that, or the 2 squads there, and
They've got a really good squad, Netherlands, even without those two.
Yeah,
actually, they're a real dark horse for me. This club, this team.
Yeah, because let's be honest, whatever way they're able to unify as a team, because not many international teams without being full of megastars can come together and actually perform well. And that's just the nature of international football. I find that you just can't get a good team to run unless it's full of the top stars, basically. But Netherlands have that thing where they can just come together. So yeah, that's right there, because Spain, Italy, Albania, Croatia won the massacre of any kind with it. Oh, come on, Julia. Come on. Anyway, but no, I'm going to stick with my gut, and I'm going to say Netherlands, France, in any particular order of the top 2. And I'm going to say Austria will probably be one of the third place finishes that advance through.
Not Poland. See, I think Poland third for me, but
okay.
Deck, over to you.
Yeah, I actually went for France to top the group, Netherlands to come second, and I actually put Poland ahead of
me too.
Austria. I did. Yeah, I just have a sneaking suspicion about them. I think they're a very tight-knit team.
Yes,
and they're very hard to break down, but they can score, and that's the thing. So that's why I went for my top 3. Short and simple.
Box actually makes a great point here. Austria in good form under Rangnick, and it's a very valid point to make because nobody expected anything of Rangnick when he left United role, went into the Austrian national team. And for someone who had such a good philosophy, you wouldn't think it'd be worth expressing in a national team, shall I say. And the squad has just come out and absolutely rinsed any team. Well, I won't say rinsed, but they've done very well against teams that they've come up against.
Yep.
So as I said, that just shows that United players were just being lazy feckers when they had Rangnick in charge.
Yeah, we've heard this before, haven't we? Eh?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the managers. Anyway, it's a good point here. Actually, I didn't know Lewandowski was injured.
I didn't know he was injured either.
No, I didn't. And yeah, maybe that means they probably don't do as well then. But they are resilient. They always have been. I think you see that every tournament. They are difficult to break down and quite resilient. A lot of the kind of Eastern European sort of Russian teams, are always difficult to break down. But if they've got no firepower, then maybe that's that. And they never really amount to anything. No. Right, Jonathan, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, I think France walked that group. I know this is a decent enough Netherlands team, but I'd be very surprised if France don't finish on 9 points with a decent enough goal difference. I just look at that squad; it's absolutely scary on paper. I think Netherlands they should finish second, comfy enough in this group. And I'd agree with Dara. I think Austria are nailed on for third place. I've liked Poland in recent tournaments, but I just think they're just that little bit over the hill now. They need to start building again for a newer generation. I just can't see them finishing third ahead of Austria. I think under Rangnick, he's kind of galvanised them a little bit more than we've seen in previous years and previous tournaments. So I think it's the Rangnick factor more than anything else that sees me putting them third. But certainly France and Netherlands first and second for me.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I know France are pretty decent and probably one of the favourites, but I've got to be honest, I don't know if they will get top. I've just got a feeling about Netherlands. I can't say why. I don't necessarily agree with you, Box, in the comments there, buddy. I think they look pretty strong, even though they've lost a couple. I just think they're a bit of a dark horse. France for me as well, but Netherlands they could well do as well. Right, Group E then: Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. You first, Dara.
Ooh, you know, Julio says that Group E is a mid-off, and I don't want to.
I thought Chelsea would be in it then. No.
Dubes will be in the comments any second now, but honestly, the problem for me is I try and follow international football where I can, but the only squad of note that I would actually know anything more of anything from this group is Belgium. So I genuinely unless one lads want to come in and make a comment here, because I genuinely can't make head or tail as to who would come out of this group, and I just genuinely don't know.
I think Belgium are a bit of a spend force in terms of what they've been at previous tournaments, but at the same time,
they've really wasted their opportunities.
Oh, absolutely! Talk about wasting golden generations. That Belgian team is absolutely disgraceful what they've wasted. But just looking at that group, I still think they'll have enough to top that group. It'll be a real dogfight amongst the other three because they're very close in terms of ability, style of football, age profiles. They're quite similar, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. So it'll actually be an interesting group to watch for neutrals in terms of like how that one finishes up. But I certainly think Belgium will have enough to top that group. But I wouldn't fancy them at all for this tournament. They're coming close.
I agree. Yeah, it's a tough one for me as well. Dec, have you got anything else on that?
No, I found this one the harder groups to pick for my pool, and I actually went Belgium, Slovakia. I don't really know enough about the teams other than Belgium to make a call, so I just fucking winged it on that one.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Tell me
it was nearly throw a dart at the group page.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's a tough one to finish. I think Belgium absolutely probably. I don't think they rinse it, actually. I think they're probably going to struggle to break some of these teams down. And it's anyone's guess, really. We've got Box here saying Ukraine second. I don't know much about them. I know they've got a couple of good players. And obviously, Mudryk had a pretty poor 2 seasons, but is he going to turn up for them?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Romania, and I think back to, I'm probably too old for a lot of you, but back to like 1996 and 2000, and Romania were a really good side back then, but they've
They
just
were,
not been
yeah.
the same since.
Like,
Yeah,
I'd say this, but like,
that's definitely too old for me. I don't remember that.
come on,
Lovely.
come on, you old granddad, come on now. But like, generally, like in terms of Ukraine, like you made the point. There's a few players there. Like you obviously have Zinchenko, you have Mudryk, you've Saganev, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, that's playing in the league at the moment. Like, so they have players, which would put them in the profile to be the most likely to finish second if Belgium are going to top the group. But other than that, it's a needle in a haystack because I just genuinely wouldn't know enough about the rest of the teams to actually make a proper professional comment, should I say, on it, because like it's more just like a hit and a miss really at that point for me then.
Yeah, fair. Well, it's a difficult one, but we'll see what happens, obviously. Right, final one then. Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and Czechoslovakia.
I wonder who'll finish first.
Wow, I think it's probably foregone, isn't it? But let's see if we get any differences in the comments. Get your comments in, guys. Really appreciate all of them tonight. It's been quite fun, actually. We'll be doing a little bit more of this over the coming weeks. Not going to do a reaction for every game. Not going to do a preview for every game. But we might kind of do one after the groups, after the next round, after the next round, after the next round, and that kind of thing. But it's been quite good fun. Get your mates and all that involved. Obviously, I know it's been a bit of a respite for everyone over the last few weeks, but obviously we're going to be ramping up a few things over the next few weeks. So get everyone involved, and it'd be good to see you back. Box, really appreciated your comments tonight, buddy. And Doobs, you've been pretty funny as well, my good man. And James here, expecting 2 clean sheets from Romania, Austria goals, and Hungary top 3. Portugal, Czech, Turkey, and Georgia to start us off. So I'll come to you first, Jonathan, on this one.
Yeah, I think definitely Portugal. Portugal are my pick for the tournament. I just think they're the most balanced team in it. I think I'd be shocked if they don't finish top of that group at 9 points. In terms of the rest, it'll be another tough pick. I'd fancy Turkey to finish second. They've got a few decent players in the squad. I think that the young attacker from Juventus, Kenan Yildiz, I think it is. He's in the squad. I think he's only 18, and I think Reece will vouch for this. He kind of lit Serie A up this season for Juve, so he's a player to watch for the tournament, and I think he adds a lot to this Turkish team. So I'd fancy Turkey to finish second in that group, and potentially Georgia in third, maybe just scraping into the round of 16, because they've got a few decent players. They've got the left winger from Napoli, who I'm not even going to try and pronounce
Go on,
their
just
name.
for shits and giggles, please.
Kvaratskhelia?
Kvaratskhelia,
that's my best Georgian. That's my best Georgian.
It's a good effort, boys. Well done. I have no idea either, so I'm not going to embarrass myself.
Of course, you put us on the firing line, of course.
Yeah, I just thought I would. Deck, your thoughts, buddy?
I actually went the same as Jonathan. I think there's no one stopping Portugal from topping that group, and I actually went for Turkey in second place. I think they have a good shout for second, and that's who I actually went for. It is a bit of a toss-up after Portugal. You know, I mean, the other 3 teams they're tight enough together. You know, very similar. But I had to pick 2, so I went Portugal top and Turkey second.
Yeah. Okay. Just to put it out there as well with the simulation thing that I was on about earlier, I can't remember exactly the teams, but I'm pretty sure Albania never won it within the 10,000, and I think Georgia were the team that only won it once or twice at the 10,000. Okay. And these were like draws in every round, win on penalty, and the same again in the final. It's a really crazy run, to be honest with you. But right, to finish off then. Thanks for your input, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone in the comments as well. Just quickly, just to finish off, Jose Mourinho has given some predictions, okay? And I want us to all follow what we think, okay? And I'll explain to you in a second. So he thinks the winner is going to be Portugal, probably very biased there. Runner-up to be England. The Golden Boot to go to Harry Kane. And the player of the tournament to go to Jude Bellingham. So 4 categories. I'm going to come to you first, Dara.
Right.
Of course,
put me on the spot because I was just going through the squads. I was like, right, who's there?
Yeah, I think we'll probably get a lot of the same, and that's fine. It's not a
Mm,
problem. But just have a little think as well with certain players. You know, we've got Ronaldo, you've got a lot of the
mm.
Portuguese team, we've got a lot of the French team. You know, have a little think. So the winner, runner up, golden boot, and player of the tournament. Dara, over to you first, buddy.
I'll be honest now. My predictions might be misleading because I've say someone, or I think Julio basically kind of was looking at the, let's say, who finishes where and who will be playing each other in the round of 16 and all this kind of thing. So like I'm gonna just take a step in the dark. I'll be honest, I will put England as runner up because if they get the right path to the final, they could easily make the final. I'm gonna say France to win it, England runner up. It'll be a Frenchman I'll put as golden boot, but it won't be Mbappe. I'm gonna put a shot in the dark, and I'm gonna say Ousmane Dembele because when he's with the French squad, he can actually turn up as well. Like,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say I won't put it past Bellingham to be player of the tournament. Being honest, because he has the when he's in the zone, he can actually control the game massively. So I'm not going to be surprised if it is Bellingham who turns out to be a player of the tournament because he's on that trajectory of how well he's been playing all season. He's already in the talk of even before the Champions League win, he was in the talk for Ballon d'Or. Anything's possible. So I'm going to say Joe Bellingham.
Yeah. Box, just want to say and repeat myself again. Really loved all your following along with us and putting in your things with us. And you've gone with Portugal to be the winners, runner up France, golden boot Kane, and player of the tournament Fernandez. And I'm sure you're talking about Bruno. So okay, over to you then, Jonathan.
I think Portugal to win it, definitely. As I said there a few minutes ago, I think they're the most rounded team in the tournament in terms of experience and youth and defensive stability, which is what you need to win these tournaments. I think runners up will be Germany. I think the home nation could make a really good run of it if they get out of the group and get onto the right side of the draw. Top goal scorer, I think, is going to be Hoyland. I think in these tournaments,
I love it. I love it. I
I
didn't think
think
anyone would say it, but love that. Love that.
if you look at these tournaments, I think a lot of the time the golden boot is decided in the group stage. You very rarely see a big impact on the golden boot race when you get to the knockouts and the finals and stuff. So I think a lot of the work could be done in the group. And I fancy Denmark to get out of the group. So I think he could bag 5 or 6 goals for sure. I hope so for him and as a United fan. And I think player of the tournament, I would agree with Box in the comments. I think Bruno Fernandes, especially if my prediction comes true and Portugal win. I think Bruno, he's really hitting form now. He's really hitting a nice purple patch in his career, and I think it would cap it all if he won the Euros with his country. And I think he could get player of the tournament if Portugal go all the way.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes hand in hand, really. The winners and the player of the tournament. I think
I
that
agree.
always kind of, whoever wins it, they're always going to pick a player. Messi actually wasn't too amazing in the World Cup. He got player of the tournament because Argentina got it. Right?
Yeah.
So this is very, very slow, but that's no worries. We can go back a little bit. Poland, Austria, Netherlands, and I'm guessing France. France is number 4, or if you just said it in order. No, you're not saying it in order.
He's just expunged them from the tournament.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Right, so I'm going to go with mine then. Listen, as much as I'd love to sit here, wind you all up and tell you that England are going to absolutely smash the tournament, I think they will get very far, and I think they probably will get to the final. But I do think Portugal are going to get it as well, to be honest with you. And obviously, if we get to the final, I'll be absolutely behind them, and I'd love nothing more. But I just feel, as we've already spoken about with the media, the past, the fans being absolutely nauseous with it, I just don't think it's going to happen either. But I'd absolutely love it. And hopefully we'll get to the final. It's not Portugal, it's someone else, and we can absolutely smash it. And you can see me all smiling at the final. Who knows? So I think Portugal. I think Bruno Fernandes or Ronaldo, obviously, as the player of the tournament. I think Golden Boot. I do agree with Jose. I think Kane will score a fair few. I think if England play well, set up right, I actually don't. I actually don't think Southgate's as bad a manager as what everyone says. I think this is just another kind of fuel
Are
to
you
the
sure
fire.
about that?
No, genuinely. I wouldn't like him at Man United, and I'll be pretty pissed off. But I don't think he's that bad, and I think he's had a really good rapport from a man management side from the under 20s and all that previously. To have something there, and regardless of what you say, we look at the golden generation back in 2006. No one did fuck all with it. We look at the golden generation in the last few years, and now this is the best squad we've got. And Gareth Southgate has actually done something with it, and I do believe they will turn up. So long as they do turn up and they play some great football, I think we'll get to the final. Depends what happens on the day, but I think with that in mind, Harry Kane will be getting the goals for us, and I think he could get golden boot. And then player of the tournament, yeah, I've already said kind of. Fernandes or Ronaldo, but then again, if it's England that win it, probably Bellingham as well. I think there's some good players to watch over the summer. Obviously, we'll be looking at all the United players and stuff as well. Hoyland, we hope he does back, and whoever said it was getting the top goal scorer, I love that. Jonathan, it was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Love that, and I'd love to see that for him as well. It'd be nice, but not against England. So
No, and like on the side of Portugal, like I suppose fair enough. You're kind of watching against a mediocre Irish team. I'll be honest. Watching him last night, Dado actually played decent enough, and then you have like the João Neves as well. Like there's players there that could stamp their authority on world football with a good Euros performance. So that whole like for someone who didn't even put Portugal in the final, I am going to be keeping a close eye on them, and what I've kept them out of the final, I'm not going to be surprised if they do make it.
They've got that. Is it Ignacio at centre back?
Yeah,
we've been heavily linked
Antonio
with
Silva
Neves,
as well,
a massive one to watch as well. Dalot, I think's had a really good season. Actually, I know United have been poor, but I really, really think he's come on leaps and bounds and been quite. And I think he'll do great in this Portugal.
I think if England get to the final, this is their time to stand up. This is their best chance of winning a tournament, with the players that they have. Yep. They have to be going out there and busting a gut to do it in this final. Look, everyone has Portugal as favourites, but and do you know what? I'd love to see Bruno win a Euros and win player of the tournament, probably top goal scorer as well. I'd love to see all that for him. But I think if England get to the final, they're going to be very, very dangerous against whoever is against them. I just think this time they have the players for it.
Well, I hope you're right, Dick. And I know how much.
I hope I'm wrong.
Well, this is what I was about to say. I know how much you dislike, and I can tell by the venom in your voice that you don't want to be saying that. But I hope you're right.
But no, like I like, and I have no shame in saying it. England should have beaten France in that World Cup match 2 years ago. They absolutely should have. I have no shame in saying it. France in that game were poor. England should have won it. Like even without that penalty that Kane just went sky high with. But anyway, genuinely, hand on heart, England should have won against France. Would they have won against Argentina? Who knows? Going by your history against Argentina, I don't think so.
Messi with the hand of God, part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But as I say, keep your eyes peeled. We'll be doing a bit more. Dara, Jonathan, Deck, I really appreciate you coming on today. It's been a good laugh. Good to see all your faces again, and nice to have a bit of chat outside of Man United for a change. So I really appreciate that. As I said to all of you as well, come back next time, get your mates involved, and really appreciate the comments in here today. They've been quite funny, quite amusing, and enjoyed that. Don't know when the next one's going to be, but as I said, keep your eyes peeled. And until then, we'll see you next time.